Yay. Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from Hawaiian Paradise Park on the beautiful big island of Hawaii. Yay. I'm so stoked to be here with you once again. I love you so much. Basically, that is the whole name of the game here. It's to be in love because you are love. See, it's like everyone and everything, even inanimate objects, everything is conspiring for you to see the truth. And it's conspiring with you on that. That's my conspiracy theory. But you know, this is something you could just be certain of. I mean, to me, like I did have it as a theory for a while, but through willingness to see, it just becomes the experience. It's kind of like a felt experience. You decipher like what kind of a feeling sensation is associated with the truth. The body is kind of like a sounding board for the vibration of the thoughts. So you could tell if you have an upset feeling, you've been listening to the guide in the mind that wants you to be upset. That's why you got an upset feeling about it. Okay. And if you're feeling comfortable, like comfort, joy, peace, gratitude, stuff like that, that's listening to a thought from the guide that loves you and wants you to feel good. Okay. And there's only two guides in the mind. So it's like you can go one way or you can go the other. It's a matter of feeling. So, you know, if you'll start using your body in that way, instead of like, you know, in a way where you're using it to imprison your mind, like your mind is serving it or something. You can use your body to serve your mind. So basically you're using it in this way, you're using it more like a sounding board to let you know the vibration of the thought you're taking is true. Is that thought harmful to you? You can tell by the way you feel. See, people get really confused because they'll get the perception that they did something wrong, like they didn't act as good as they should have in that situation. Okay. People get the perception, gosh, I could have said this, or I could have said that, or something like that. Well, the thing of it is, the communication that you're projecting right now didn't even happen. It did not even happen. All you're witnessing right now is a scenario. You're just witnessing. It's like you're actually witnessing a random scenario. Okay. And to use it like as a teaching device, what you would do is notice that the scenario is just a random scenario, and pay attention to whether you're willing to be released from the sense that you're guilty over it, that you did something in that's even a possibility. You have to be willing to be released from it if you are going to be released from it, because it's all about what you would accept for yourself. See, the ego feels unworthy, okay? It's afraid and it feels unworthy because it knows that it is not eternal, okay? So that's the ego's way of being. So the ego, in order to uphold its life, needs to keep you identified with its suffering. You don't have suffering, you're not capable of suffering. But, you know, to identify with the ego's suffering, That's what makes it hurtful for you. See, for me, when the ego is suffering, like, I know that's all that can suffer. I know that's all that can suffer. I know I can't suffer. Okay. So when the ego is suffering, what is it to me? It's an observation that I'm making. I'm observing a suffering ego right now. And in that even that sense of suffering, like the visceral sensation of it, it changes. It's like you're just shining the light on what that sensation is, because you're paying attention to the body in that way. And I know that you can get really tripped up. It happens to me too, where you just like get really tripped up and you really don't want to see that that the truth is true in the moment. You really do not want to see that truth is true in the moment. Okay. Just be easy on yourself about that, but be honest. Okay. Calling it a hook is kind of like a misperception, because it's like saying like something's just coming out and grabbing you and hooking you completely against your will. I know it can seem like that, but that's because it's habitual. You're used to it. You're used to choosing it, but nevertheless, you're still choosing. You're the only chooser in this. Okay. And, to notice I didn't choose for my own good is a blessing. That is awesome. Like that's just noticing that is awesome. There's no need to feel guilty over it. See what I'm saying? Because you can't get caught, you can't be taught in the way when you're projecting guilt on yourself. Your mind is too loud to receive the teaching. The golden teacher, you could say, the one who loves you, the one who knows your reality and also knows what you've made of yourself in your mind that isn't even real, loves you and wants to show you the way out of all this. It wants to show you the way out of this mess. And see, you don't have to be afraid of anything you made when you're listening, because all that you made is meaningless. All that you made is also perfectly, it's completely random and chaotic, and it's also perfectly placed for it because it's maximally beneficial for your seeing through this, for your resolution of guilty feelings. As far as in the field is so random because there's nothing happening really. It's just projected in the moment. And it seems like in the moment, all the pieces fit together, but it's not like that at all. They actually don't even fit together. It's because it's like from moment to moment, it's another projection, and it's just like an emotional freaking journey. Okay. It's like this emotional freaking journey through thought. Even time is a thought. You could say journey through time, but even time is a thought. See? So it's really a journey through time. The time is perceived. It's a journey. I mean, it's a journey through thought because the time is perceived, right? It's made up of thought. So it's, noticing that it's your thinking always, it's projecting the manifestation, and that's not anything to be guilty about, right? I was sharing with my friends on Friday, Wisdom Dialogues in person, after I went through an experience. It was amazing. It was totally amazing. I went through an experience, and then I was leaving for Wisdom Dialogues in person, maybe like 30 minutes after that. That kind of experience. And it was really healing. Yeah. It was just like a super point of awareness, noticing and perceiving. And I love to perceive how I set myself up mentally, because it's like nothing in the field is really doing anything, but I'm setting myself up mentally for certain perceptions. And on Friday, I got a perception that someone felt very guilty because of what I said. And when I got the perception, they felt guilty. And, I'm perceiving someone standing in front of me being defensive, explaining themselves, victimizing themselves to try to get out of any judgment that they seem to perceive was projected for me, and so I got this sense like, whoa, I see how I made that, because earlier on, the thought occurred to me, that's just rude. Right. And I was aware of the thought. There was awareness of the thought. Okay. That's just rude. Okay. And there was a sense like, okay, be careful here. Right. This is where you be careful, because you know how you can tend to, think that's rude and then believe it partially, even believing it partially, still believing it. So the next thing I noticed some tendency to try to hang on, but just a little. So when I went in there and I talked to the people about it, the situation that was occurring, when I went in there to talk to them, the person who heard what I said just got so guilty feeling. That's what I noticed. There's just like a real guilty feeling. So it was like, okay, well, it's okay. It's okay. And I noticed, wow, after I'm gone from the place, I'm like, wow, I really feel a lot more loving than that, even than it's okay. I feel way more loving than that. And I noticed how the thought would come back to me again, like throughout days. It'll just come back to me again, and at that time it's trying to be like a hook to be guilty over. There's none of these things we have to hang on to. We don't have to hang on to any of these things. So I noticed the hook to be guilty over it, and just in that moment, I don't have to bite the hook, you could say. Right? It's always a choice. So in that, it's just like, oh, you can accept the relief right now, because it's like what you desire is already known. So like if you're getting a guilty feeling over, thinking, wow, I wish I would have been even more loving in the situation, right? For me, it's like, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, that's cool. That was the best I could do in the moment. That there obviously was a trigger there. That's why it was the best that I could do, because my personality is usually a lot more loving than that, just normally. And, I say my personality not lightly, because that thing is actually programmed based on which thoughts I take as true. Okay. So what I'm saying is that the personality that's been formed out of the thoughts that I take are true is naturally, normally, even more loving than that, than when someone thinks that they've done something, they've done something against me, or they've ruined something or anything like that. I would just be even more than it's okay. Because for me, it's okay is great. I love it. And it's not so much in the words, but, like I say, it's in the feeling. The truth of the matter is you didn't do it. That's the truth of the matter, that you didn't do it, right? So as soon as I notice a person getting defensive and explaining themselves and making themselves victimized, like a person might make themselves victimized and go, well, I have a million things to do. And I just didn't feel like I could follow through on that thing for you, like that, just kind of like victimizing and expressing like that. So for me right away, I know I've thought in a way that's hurtful. Basically, it's hurtful to me. I know that I have, but it's in a playful way. It's not like I'm condemning myself. See what I mean? I'm really happy to see when that occurs. It actually makes me feel closer to the people in the interaction that I'm in the interaction with. And, I found myself going home and getting really inspired to write a letter after I heard my husband, because, once he heard about the situation, he was like the same way. He was like, oh my God, they're so almost, only he went like way more overboard than, in my mind, it was like, that's rude. He was like, I just like a big explosion, like that. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And I'm knowing it's coming from myself. So that's why I'm like, kind of like exhilarated with the whole process. It's like an exhilarating experience. So I find myself just like writing from my heart, basically letting them know, we love you. You're doing a great job. This was our experience, and we take full responsibility for our misunderstanding about how your business works. Right? Basically like that. And then also like giving some friendly advice too on, hey, maybe you can charge over here, and then you'd be able to provide the service that that's easeful for people. Let's say. Probably how it was. Anyways, I typed it all out, typed it from the heart, and then I gave it over to AI and I said, make it loving. And oh my gosh, it just came out so wonderful. I love that. I love that. Because like AI will take the tone of your whatever it is, and like I could just write something out and then make it so that it's even more understandable. It just like puts it in a perfect way. I'm just so blessed and grateful for that tool as long as it's going to be given me to use. It is so sweet. So anyways, the main thing for me is that I'm easy and gentle with myself. That's the thing. No matter how I seem to be with another person, like if I get the perception, oh my gosh, I wish I could be more loving than that, I get the perception like that. It's like, oh, well, that's all that means is something's getting worked out. You're automatically being taught how to achieve that. Basically, you're automatically being reprogrammed, let's say. Okay, it's like your sense of self. You don't get reprogrammed. You're always the same. You never changed. You've been the child of God since eternity, and there's no even sense in that. It's just for eternity. Okay, so there's nothing changing about you, and you projected an image in the field that's very changeful according to how you would see yourself. And how you would see yourself is demonstrated right now. In the thought that's arising in your consciousness, you're given a choice between the truth of who you are and the illusions that you made. Always a choice. And look you may not see another thought alongside the thought, let's say, God, I'm a piece of shit. I know the kind of self-talk some of you folks are dealing with, okay? And really, I hear that pop up in my mind, and that's how I know. Because the thing is, for me, I'm not really dealing with it. It's not a thing for me. Like when that pops up for me, I know it's a worldly thought. It's not a personal thought. It's like it's coming from nowhere, all right? It's just like popping up in the mind. These thoughts, they just circulate the mind. And I know people go through it because I have talks with people, and people share with me and tell me they're going through it. And the only reason they're ever going through it is because of thoughts that they're taking as true in the moment. And, there'll be times when people don't want to hear that. I get plenty of that with wisdom dialogues. I get plenty of that, It's like, I don't expect my friends to keep coming to wisdom dialogues. I do not expect that. But I notice that they are drawn to it if they're not drawn to illusions, If they're not being drawn to illusions, they like wisdom dialogues. And by illusions, what I mean is just trying to hurt yourself. Milo, you say you can't hear me. I think other people can hear me. So maybe check on your end, your technology. Check that out. Maybe turn the volume up, mess with the volume. I don't know, but get that hearing working on the computer, or not. I'm sure you could just watch me and get the transmission that way. If you can't hear me, you probably don't need to be hearing me, because you probably have a bunch of arguments about what I'm saying anyways. So just watch my lips for a few minutes. See if you can't get mesmerized there. Oh my goodness. Hearing is good. Yes, Margaret. Yes, Akahi. Akahi, you go by Dale on here? That's cool with me. I just thought you'd like to be Akahi. We don't make you go by Dale on here. You don't have to have an ID. I love you. Yay. So my daughter came. She arrived on Tuesday after our last meeting, the Monday online. She arrived on Tuesday, and she brought a lot of crystals. I got reacquainted with crystals a lot. Just beautiful crystals, you guys. She's still on Crystals in the Wild. If you just go to crystalsinthewild.com, you could see her listing, so you could check them out online. And then if you're around here, you can hook up with her and get some crystals. She's also going to be taking some of them, not all of them. She's got a lot. She's going to be taking some of them over to farmers markets. So it's been really fun having her back. She just finally left our house. She's been staying at our place. I say finally because she was planning on leaving right away. You know, she's only here like 5 days, maybe. She maybe spent 5 nights. And she was planning on just not even spending one night. We didn't even know if she was spending one night because we don't even have a space for her, really. I mean, we do and we don't, you know. But anyways, I guess you either do or don't. Who knows? It's all projected right now. So the idea was that there's no space for my daughter. But then she goes, Mom, I really want to spend the night here instead of going to Cinderland. And I said, okay, well, where are you going to sleep? And she's like, I'll sleep on the lanai. And I go, perfect. So she sleeps out on the lanai. And I was like, that was easy. And it just kept on being easy. And then it just kept on, like, day 5, I'm like, oh, why are you leaving? She's like, I want to sleep in a bed now. I've been sleeping on the floor the whole time. But it was really chill having all 3 of my kids in the house. My kids are 30 going on 31. That's the one who just came back to Hawaii with a whole bunch of crystals. And she's here. My son, who's 21, who moved out before, and he was gone for like 7 months, he's back. And then my other son, Braun, is 15. He's always chilling. He's been here the whole time. And yeah, really close quarters. It seems like we have a really big house, but there's not that much living space in it. So it was like really close quarters, close to the kitchen, everything like that. Everything was really harmonious. No, not even one, like, I guess you would say conflict. Yeah, not even one conflict. That's what I want to say. Not even one single conflict, and just a lot of sweetness. And, you know, I noticed, you know, in my perception, what I get is really a lot of sweetness in my perception. That's why it's so easy for me to notice too, when someone's just like even mildly defensive. And, you know, if someone's even mildly defensive, immediately I know that's a calling to me. It's a call for love. And I am the one to supply the love. It's through me. It's by me receiving the love, and it comes through, let's say it's an energetic transmission, let's say, but it's really a mental transmission. Energy is also mental. Okay. An energetic transmission is a mental transmission. That is also mental. That is, it's like forgiveness in time and forgiveness of time. It collapses time. See, we don't need more time. Even people say, wait till you're my age. Why does anyone have to get to be my age? There's no need. See, we say stuff all day long that upholds the illusion. And I mean we, because I see it coming out of this mouth too. But there is no difference between if it comes out of your mouth in my perception, or it comes out of my mouth. There's no difference between those two to me. That's the same. It's the same illusion. See? And I know it's only identity that can make me feel guilty. That's why I love it when something will occur in my field that seems to be like energetically, wah, 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 you know, because, you know, I'll get all kinds of opportunities. It's funny. I mean, if you saw me before I realized what I realize now, if you saw me before and that same kind of thing would have occurred and I would have gone in and talked to some people about it, it would have been a way, way different vibe. Not like it's okay. It's more like, what are you going to pay me for fucking everything up? For wasting time and all this other stuff, right? But, you know, at this point in time, the only thing that I want to do when a person gets defensive, in my view, is comfort them. So the manifestation of it just gets more and more gentle as time goes on. That's what I notice as the purification occurs. Natalie says hi to you, Anne. Yay. Yay. Natalie, you sent me the sweetest email today. Thank you. Or was it a text or something like that? It was so sweet. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming to visit me. I got a picture too from Natalie. It's so cute. Thank you. Of me wearing those shorts you got me. Those are adorable. Thank you. That was so fun. I loved hanging out with you. And thank you for donating to Wisdom Dialogues too. That was so awesome. I've been talking with HeartMath now so I could get something, in fact, I'm not just talking with them. I got something. I got like one of their professional units and a training program to see how to use that HeartMath thing. So I can have sessions with people and help them to get into a really sweet vibration and show them how to remember that vibration. Like noticing that that vibration is the one that you want. It's a feeling, it's a visceral feeling that you can get into, that you can find in your mind anytime you want. So I'm really excited about that. And I was training with this technique for over, not this weekend just passed, but the weekend before. I was training on this technique, and the technique is all about helping people to get into a heart coherent space, which is basically what I do all the time. And just to see myself getting the opportunity to have that feedback, just like to have that feedback, because it just made it so much more certain that that's exactly where I want to be all the time, and that there's no reason to go anywhere else, no matter what the circumstances bring, right? So just in awareness of that, and more aware, expanding awareness of that, the personality that's being projected into the field just keeps on getting purified. Okay. It just keeps on getting purified. Eventually it's so purified that it's not even able to stand anymore. You know, basically when it's completely purified, it's just you. And there's no more illusions left. I love that. So your energy field is basically comprised of thinking. Okay. So when something comes into your energy field and you notice it's kind of like an invitation to conflict, see if you could just chill out. You don't have to argue with the conflict or anything like that. See if you could just chill out. I've had a lot of practice with that. I can tell you it works. It's so amazing. Okay. I happened to get together with about 29 years ago with a guy who is prone to, I guess, blow ups. Like, oh my God, or just like big reactions, big, loud reactions. And when I married him in 1999, his mom told me, don't let him get with it like this one uncle of his. Don't let him get like that. You let him know that you're not going to put up with that. Don't let him get to it. And I go, okay, I know what you're talking about. And you know, for some years, I would just kind of like get this nervous system reaction and go, oh gosh, I don't like that. But then over time, I start to get the nervous system, because there's a nervous system reaction. If someone blows up in front of you, it's the same thing as like a book dropping on the floor really fast. Like you're just kicking back, right? You're just, I don't know, maybe you're like reading a book or something like that. It's real chill. It's all quiet. And then someone drops a book. Like, let's say someone just drops a book on this table. There's a nervous system reaction right away. In the same way, when someone blows up in front of you, there's a nervous system reaction right away. That's what needs to be taken care of, that nervous system reaction. Okay. The mind wants to run to different things, but what really needs to be taken care of is that right there. So for me, in my case, I just kept on taking care of that. And then I notice how he starts to get over them easier. And also, you know, like not carry him on so much, but he's kind of like my gauge like that. It's like, okay, it's time for an extension of love right here, because I'm getting a nervous system reaction to whatever it is. And that's why it'll lead to, you know, something inspiring. Like one thing that was really helpful that I saw when that letter came out, that really basically a loving letter about the whole situation that my family seemed to be upset about, myself included, because I said, that's rude. That's an upset feeling. I didn't play the upset feeling out more than that. But my family was playing that out more than that, right? So when I get that perception, I know that there's that it's a call for love. So, you know, it's like what I was talking about on Friday in person. Here I am. So that's what I applied in that moment. Just said, here I am, you know, and I was just inspired to write a letter. And I know when I showed that to my daughter, she was like, oh, that's so true. And it's so sweet. And, you know, there's just like a good uplifting feeling about it. So it's not like someone, a sense like, you know, there's holding that someone has done something to us. And my daughter really understands too, you know, she was bumming out, she was crying and stuff, because she's, you know, because of what this business decided to do, apparently in the apparent world, this is not even a reality at all, but this is the way it's perceived, is that because of what they did, it's going to cost her a lot more money and waste a lot more time. Okay. So she was actually so upset. She was crying about it. And I shared with her, I said, you know what it's for though? And she kind of didn't want to hear it. I could tell, like, she kind of didn't, she knows she kind of didn't want to hear it. But I go, you know what it's for. And I kept prodding in a playful way. I could tell she was receptive to it. And then she's just like had a breakthrough where she's like, okay, yeah, it's chill, you know, and got happy. Basically, that's how I know someone had a breakthrough. That's what I mean by that. They don't tell me, oh, I just had a breakthrough. They just go from feeling down in the dumps to having a victory, you know, feeling victorious. A smile, a laugh. Ah, Lori, thank you for joining. I love you. Yay, Natalie. Thank you too. Ah, And, I wouldn't worry about it either if you fully like went in there and cussed the fuckers out. You go in there and you're like, God damn you. How could you do that? All the stuff, being victimized, all the things. And then I love that about myself. See what I mean? That's where it's at. It's plain to me how people hold on to upset feelings when they just want to. Like they'll be in front of me and go, what was the one I heard recently? I just feel so uncomfortable. And I go, okay, but what's wrong with that? What's wrong with an uncomfortable feeling? And they go, it's uncomfortable. Okay. Can you be with the uncomfort and also notice that you're fine because it's not touching you? That's the thing. It's like, take a deep breath in the uncomfort. I had some uncomfort this morning. It was great. It was so funny. I was on the phone with GoDaddy, right? You guys know what GoDaddy is? So I was going to do an email migration from a place called Rackspace, where they do our Exchange email, to a place called GoDaddy. Some of you guys might not even be able to follow this. I don't know. Anyways, so I'm on the phone with this guy doing some technical stuff, but first I'm on hold before he comes on. While I'm on hold, I go over to my website because I'm getting ready for a flash Father's Day sale at miraclebotanicals.com. I'm getting ready for a flash Father's Day sale, right? So I look at my Father's Day gift guide, like probably right before he came on the phone. I look at it and I go, where are my links? And then it starts going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, where are the links? Oh my God, where are the links? And I start feeling things increasing because I sent a newsletter out last week, okay? And it linked to a blog post that was about a Father's Day gift guide. And I put all these links in it. Well, somehow it reverted back to an earlier version that I wasn't even done with yet, that I hadn't, I'd saved since then. I'd saved the document since then. And I was like, oh my goodness, right? At the same time, I'm noticing what's going on in the energy field. I'm noticing what's happening. I'm feeling the sensation at my forehead. I'm feeling the sensation in my heart. I'm feeling the sensation in my tummy. So the dude comes on, and in one ear, he's talking to me about some technical shit about my email, right? And over here, I'm going, okay, I'm like half listening to him, totally multitasking. I'm seeing what I can do about this. I don't want to lose this conversation with him. And I don't got this. I noticed that. I just noticed that. It's not a big deal. It's not, it doesn't touch me, right? I'm not choosing any of this stuff on the surface. I'm not choosing to multitask. Okay. There's no choice in the things that seem to be going down on the fucking surface. That's where you guys get tripped up all the time. It's not where the choice is. The choice is whether you're going to be attentive to what's true. Okay. So in the moment, you're getting a sensation. There's a sensation going on. So I got a technical guy, and we're talking about an email migration. At the same time, I find myself finding an open tab, a tab that I left open of a preview of the page that I saved. I had gone to it and left it open on another tab. So I copied it from the internet, stuck it into an HTML converter, converted it to HTML, copied the HTML, stuck it back into the blog, fixed it right away like that. And then the guy on the phone, I'm like, can you repeat that last one that you just asked? And so he repeats it. I said, I was just distracted that whole time, and I told him what I was doing and stuff, and he was like, "Oh, you're doing really good." I was like, "Thanks." The whole time I'm noticing though, because now I'm getting the sense that I'm multitasking, and I'm just noticing how that feels. Do I like it? For one, it's just like you're noticing, what is it? Would you keep it? Would you keep doing that if given a choice? You don't have a choice in it, so judging it isn't really a good idea. Of course, if you do find yourself judging it, that's fine. You see what I mean? If you do, because you can't fix yourself. You can only open up to what the spirit would teach you in the moment. You can only open up to that. You can only be receptive to the good news about yourself. You can't fix yourself. Let's see. That is not about wisdom dialogues. All right. Okay, Ekahi, yay. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Yay, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you. Oh, by the way, if you're on Zoom and you want to talk to me, you can raise your hand. You can also write in the chat. I read the chat. You can also write in the Q&A. And the Q&A, that's just for me. I don't necessarily even see it sometimes because the screen is weird. But if you put it in there, I might see it. I'm just not always looking at the Zoom screen. When it comes in on a flash. Sometimes I'm over on the Facebook screen because there's also people talking to me over there. So one thing that occurs when you have a spiritual experience is there's a urge to chase the spiritual experience as such. Like that feeling, like that upticked feeling. There's an urge to chase that sensation. So what I get the perception that goes on with people is that they don't feel like they're worthy unless they're in that sensation. That's the worthy sensation. So it's in the moment of feeling unworthy, would you be willing to see that you are worthy? Because that's basically what'll happen if you're willing to see. If you're willing to see that you actually are worthy of a way better feeling than you're allowing for yourself right now. The illusion is always there to show you that you're not worthy. That's what it's doing. It's the darkness and you're the light. You're seeing through the darkness depends on your willingness to receive the good news about yourself. That you are worthy, that you're more than worthy, that you're capable. You're totally capable of accepting your worthiness in the moment. See, you tend to talk in a way too that puts a spell on you and makes it seem like you're not capable of it. Like you'll say, I got hooked, in a way where it's like you didn't choose that path. You didn't choose that thought train. So it's like to own up to responsibility is not to make guilty at all. It's not like that at all. It's just you're thinking about it in a way that's true. So it's like you're not rising up against the truth. If you rise up against the truth, you can't hear it. There's nothing that's guilty because nothing guilty has ever been created. You made a self-image into something that's susceptible to guilty feelings. But that's you holding it in place. It's your decision. And you can decide to use things in the way they're meant to be used, the way that's healing. And especially the body. Because that thing tends to be mistaken for something it's not all the time. The ideas of what the body is for, like the body, for instance, the body is for supporting itself. Supporting itself. It's a projection. When the mind thinks in terms of a body that needs support, it's imprisoned. You don't have to be afraid of anything you've made. One of the things that you've made is the body. The body seems to need a lot of shit. Seems to take a lot of shits too. One of the ridiculous things that it seems to do, a stinky ass shit comes out of it. So funny. That just cracks me up. You're over there pampering it, apparently, putting all kinds of good essential oils on it. And then out comes a stinky shit. Unbelievable. Sometimes it's bad breath. It's like hilarious. It seems to need a lot. It seems to need a lot of care. You know, in the systemite world, it means you need health insurance. And there's always some political party that's threatening your access to health insurance. I don't know which one it is. Probably goes back and forth. I don't know. Something's threatening your health insurance is the story. That's one level of it. Another one, you're relying on your own strength, the strength of your body. It has to keep going to keep supporting me. This is an imprisoned thought. Look, you don't have to be afraid of what you made. It's supported. Even what you made is supported. If it's too fearful for you to be released from it, it's going to be supported. Everything that arises in the field of perception, everything that seems to happen to your imaginary body, every disease that seems to afflict it, every accident that seems to occur to it, it's all perfectly beneficial to you because of what it's for. It only occurs if it's maximally beneficial. What could go wrong? All suffering is thinking in terms of what's not true. It's just not the truth. I'm glad that I could tell you that consistently year after year after year, because I know it's the truth. And I'll keep on telling you guys that consistently year after year after year as long as this body is useful in this awakening process. That is not up to me one bit. But that's what I use it for. That's why, that's why I'm certain year after year after year, you're going to be hearing the same thing from me if my body seems to be made manifest in this field for you. Because there's no turning back from that. Once you're certain what the body is for, you don't want to use it for something else. It's just icky. Who would want to go back to conflict? I mean, how many lifetimes does it take to have 5 people in a house where 4 of them are adults and there's no conflict for 5 days? See what I mean? And they're close family members. That is, I see that so clearly that that's an effect of choosing the truth. It's the effect of siding with the Holy Spirit rather than the ego. My house used to be a shit show. As far as conflict. Just on a regular day. Not even having everyone home. Close quarters. It's not like we have a sprawling thing. Close quarters. Like I don't even really have a place for my daughter to sleep, but she's staying on the lanai, sleeping on the floor. Oh, one night we got to spend the night at Leia's place. That was awesome. Thanks, Leia. Thanks for having us. Me and Akea went over there. Had some sweet time with sweet Leia. Out in the jungle. Sharing some love. So sometimes, you might find yourself going away from your spiritual practice a little bit, or going away from the truth for a little bit. Because you're pursuing something else. You're pursuing some kind of suffering. And that's also maximally beneficial. There's nothing wrong with it at all. And when I see my friends going through something like that, I'll remind them of the truth, but not in an intrusive way. Like I could tell if they're putting up their blocks and going, okay, I don't want to hear that right now. Even if they're not saying, I don't want to hear that right now, or I can't hear that right now, which isn't really true ever, that you can't hear it. But I respect people's wishes. I'm like, hey, fucking snap out of it right now. Because all that is getting into an entanglement with an ego, I'll see a friend starting to go south and I'll go, hey, you don't have to do that. You don't have to make that thing real. And then when they're not receptive, it's just like, okay, yay. And yay, really. It's not like, oh yeah, good luck with that, fucker, It's like, it's like, yay, I leave the door open for all my friends to come back. Basically come back to the truth. I leave the door open for my friends to just go in and out all you want, just like wisdom dialogues, you can come in late, you can leave early, you can go to sleep, you can do some yoga, you can do some block therapy. You just use it however you need to use it. Use it on your drive, whatever like that. I don't need your support. That's one thing. That's nice. I feel good that my friends, to let my friends know that I don't need their support. Right? Because I know that I don't need anyone's support. And any support that seems to be given me on the surface, that's because it's maximally beneficial. I'm going to get that. I don't have to try to get it. I don't have to tell people I need their support. People will give support where they see fit to give support. And that's really coming from me. So, oh, if you're wondering what I'm putting on me, you probably can't see me if you're just listening, but I'm putting Cape Chamomile. I have organic Cape Chamomile essential oil today. It's like apple and grape. It's very gentle, and very rare, very, very rare. There's not enough of Cape Chamomile. As far as I know, there's not enough Cape Chamomile for the bigger companies that sell more stuff to carry. Same thing with this one. It's a specialty one. Juniper berry CO2 extracted. We have 3 juniper berries now, and they're really good. We also have 2 juniper woods. This one is just like really fresh and invigorating. I love to put essential oils on. It's different, all these different aromas. They're all natural aromas, and they are good reminders. They are not subject to an ego. They don't have any I don't think they can hear the ego. That's what I get. I don't think they can hear it. It's an energetic thing, they're just light and playful and happy, and they know. Actually, it seems to me that a lot of the openings that have occurred in me have been through essential oils. That's why I felt like I wanted to extend those outward, like offer them outward, and even bless them up myself. Like when they're over here, just bless them up. Because that's what everything is. It's just energy it's like thoughts being sent out. You can say it's like thoughts. So essential oils, they seem to be a thought that's not subject to any kind of upset feeling. Doesn't have that kind of projection on it. It's interesting. That's why in the field, in the energy field, it seems to vibrate way higher than human bodies, like several times higher. It's really interesting. It's kind of like, people will describe it as when they're around essential oils, like getting high. It is like that because it raises the vibration. It really is like that. And what that means, it's like your heart resonance is changing in that moment. I noticed that about the essential oils way back in 2010. I started inhaling them whenever I would have an upset feeling. And I'd ask for the teaching. Of course, all the teaching actually comes from the Holy Spirit. And the plants are unique. Well, unique may not be the correct word, because I looked it up and it's kind of like saying like you're different. So that's why I'm like, okay, unique really isn't the right word. It's distinct, because they're of the same thing as us. And that's everything. It's like it's a creation, right? It's of the same substance. It's like the plants having been, I guess you could say, grown birthed without being man-made, let's say. Born in the world without being man-made, kind of like a person, a plant, like that. See what I mean? The inanimate objects, animals, same thing. Inanimate objects that are man-made are a different vibration. In testing them, they test at a lower vibration. That's why the things that are human made are not replenishable. See how that is? You can say not sustainable. All of them. All the things, no matter how ingenious it is, no matter how green it is, let's say. None of it is sustainable like nature, let's say. And when you take it to human made, you take it to one more step removed from reality. So that's why I like crystals too. High frequency. High frequency. We deserve it, of course. It's just that there's this draw toward the darkness. Akea was sharing something like that with me. My daughter, Akea, she was sharing about her experience when she went toward cocaine a few years ago. How she noticed this desire to go into the darkness, you know. And just noticing that is so wonderful. There's really nothing to do about it. Just in noticing that draw toward it. And then also perceiving what it got for you. You know what she perceived? It got her a bunch of conflict, guilty feelings, all kinds of upset stuff. And really, you know, it wasn't even in the cocaine or meth or whatever it was she was doing. Wasn't really even in that, because remember, it's a journey through thought. Nothing is really happening here. That's why when she was going through that, I would just encourage her and I'd go, hey, nothing's gone wrong. Nothing's happening here. Everything's all right. Basically tell her, you're just kidding. No? So when she saw the draw toward the darkness and went toward it, it's basically a thought. It's a dark thought. It's not a dark thing. The things manifest after the thinking. The things that manifest in the field, that's the past playing out. Even everything you say and do. So by getting that kind of oversight on it, you know, even going through, you know, you don't even have to concern yourself with, am I just like thrashing this body doing all this cocaine? That's not even your concern at all. It's more like the thoughts that are arising right now. It's bringing on this kind of behavior is going to bring on guilty thoughts. That's how it is. Would you be willing to be released from the guilty thought, even though you're getting the perception that it's justified? You're always getting the perception that it's justified because you're the one that made it up. And you believe what you made up because you're good at making shit up. You're always going to find, when you have a guilty feeling popping up, that you can find something in the field to justify it. That's how your mind is trained. But just because you found something in the field, like you get the perception that you're doing cocaine every night, for instance, right? Just because you found something in the field that justifies your feeling guilty doesn't mean it's justified. It means you're good at making shit up. There's never any good reason for you to feel guilty because everything you seem to be doing, look, even if it's lines of cocaine every night, everything that you seem to be doing is maximally beneficial for yourself and for everyone else in that experience. That's the thing. Would you be willing to remember that it's just ask yourself right now. This is a really good spiritual practice right now. Ask yourself right now, would you be willing to accept that everything that someone does is in your very best interest, even when you're triggered and it seems like they just fucked something up? It's just like, would you be willing to have that kind of relief? See? You can decide right now. Would I be willing in that moment? Let's say someone just came up and stole my car, for instance. Let's say someone just came up and stole my car right now. Would I be willing to see that as maximally beneficial? That's all. You can make a commitment right now if you want to. Would I be willing to? See, that something like that helps you. That's how it is for me. Like some scenario comes up in my mind. What if this happened? Would I be willing to see that it's maximally beneficial? Yes, I would. Okay, there's peace in that. And there's techniques and stuff that you can do. I like to play with all different ones. You know, the one we were playing with this past weekend is really fun. It's about, having awareness from behind, having your attention focused behind your head as if it's looking through your head and out your eyes, and even back at itself. It's a technique. There's lots of those. You're free to use them, but you don't have a choice in it. You have to be willing to use them in the moment. Even here I am is a technique. I love it. I use techniques all the time. It's great. Anytime, like even you turn your attention from a thought, anytime you turn your attention from a thought because you realize that it's meaningless, that it's a technique. There's a choice there that causes the turn of the attention. Not necessarily in that moment though. The choice might just be manifesting as paying attention. Just paying attention to what you're choosing. It's all for fun. Nothing here but a playful field. You can think of it as a playground. You know, it's like we get these body illusions, and then it seems like we're responsible for them. That's what makes people grumpy too. That's what makes people in conflict too. How am I going to get provided for? People start thinking in terms of, is this interaction beneficial to my bottom line? How can I get some money out of this? How can I get something out of this? How can I get something for free out of this? And it's totally missing the opportunities in the moment. If you have a job and thinking in terms of, I'm just doing this to make money. I'm just doing this to make money over and over again. Watch your thought processes because those imprison you. And you know, all matters of illness, all accidents, all those kinds of stuff, they're just to bring those thought patterns to the surface. Same thing with going on a cocaine binge. Also, that's what it's for. Just use it for what it's for. Don't have any care about what you seem to be using. You won't have to have any care if you're using it for what it's for. It's like it's one or the other. If you're using it for what it's for, You're not going to have a care about it because you realize that whatever it is that's occurring, that is perfect for you. And, that's how I am with myself. That's why it's really gentle for me. Life is very gentle because I'm just like, whatever it is, it's perfect for me. I'm the only one that can make it turbulent. I'm the only one that can make it intense. If I go, that was intense, I know right away I made it intense. Whew, that was intense. Like that, I know right away I made it intense. One time I saw a car crash right in front of me. And I was like, whoa, that was some good weed. Literally, a friend of mine had just offered me to smoke some weed with him. We smoked some weed. I blow it out, and then all of a sudden there's a car crash right in front of me, like boom. This is probably like, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years ago. And I just go, dang, that was some good weed. Next thing you know, we have people all around us. There's like people who need some medical treatment or something like that. They're like cut open, or people are like in shock and stuff like that. And I just keep on smiling at my friend. I'm like, we're loving these people up and everything. And apparently, and taking care of like the 911 and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I keep looking at my friend. I'm like, mm-hmm. And the whole time, with just loving up the people, it's like being in that place where this is maximally beneficial right now. It's like helpful to everyone. It brings up everyone's spirits. That's what I noticed. It allows people to relax. I was actually holding a baby at the time. I had Braun. He was a little tiny guy on my hip. So I was actually had a baby on one, and then and then loving people up with the other hand, and and just being, in responsibility for your own vibes, for your own energy. Like I could have made that really intense. Oh my God, what was I doing? Smoking weed. Now I can't be here. Like you can make up any story you want. Or why does this have to happen right now? I was trying to go, or, who knows? My baby's hungry. I need to nurse him. No, that didn't come up. He was fine. He was interested the whole time. And then the 911 gets there and they start doing their thing. There's nothing to get up in arms about. I'll notice energy just in the household arise where someone will be scared. Let's say scared, for instance. Like let's say the FedEx guy once in a while shows up at 9 a.m. instead of his regular time, which is closer to 11 a.m. And someone in my house be like, oh my God, the FedEx, oh my God, oh my God. It's like, it's okay. It's all right. Then come to find out FedEx is delivering something. They'll be back in a few hours to pick something up. But it's like just this sense like, oh my God, oh my God. When that occurs, I just notice it so easily. I love that because I could just love up whoever it is that seems to be emoting in that way, and just kind of like, oh, it's okay. We don't need to be in a hurry for that. Normally, we love to get all of our people's orders out like by the next day or even the same day. Sometimes it might take 2 days. It'll be all right. That's the same thing with anything that just like pops up in the field, like, oh my God, we're out of toilet paper or something. Remember what it's for. Or just be willing to remember what it's for. Just that little bit of awareness, it opens up and it becomes more of a willingness. Now, to totally be released from this world, it takes great willingness. which I have not given yet, as you are still perceiving a physical body in this field, which, by the way, I'm very patient with. It can be a physical body in this field for 100 more years for all I care. I don't mind 900 more years. I don't mind that. But I know that if I perceive a physical body in a field of consciousness, that means that I haven't fully accepted my release yet. That's all it is. And I will fully accept my release in perfect time. Meanwhile, my willingness to be released is building. That's what's going on here. It's building, because at some point the willingness will be full willingness, and then there will not be a sense of a physical body once the willingness is full and complete. See, it's not a hurry, and at the same time, it's urgent in the moment. For me, it's urgent in the moment. Okay. Because in the moment, that is the moment. I don't want to cover it up. I don't want to repress anything. I just want to be aware of what's transpiring in the moment. So I'm aware of what choices I have and which choice is being made, really. In that awareness of the choice automatically goes toward truth. So I don't really have to work hard. It being urgent doesn't mean I need to work hard. Even though I'm very vigilant, it doesn't mean I'm in a battle, right? The ego is in a battle. The ego is in a battle for my awareness, because when I'm giving my awareness away to the ego feels very comfortable, like its life is being supported. Okay. So the ego is in a battle for that. And it feels like it's in a battle against God for it. Right. But really, it's just battling with itself, because, God doesn't need the ego to be anything different to be itself. God is all powerful. And whenever you choose God, that's it. The ego doesn't matter. The ego just doesn't matter. That's why it's not a battle. To get out of any hook is only to acknowledge what's true. If you're not sure, you're not clear on what's true, it's to acknowledge that you're wrong. What you're thinking is wrong, and it needs to be corrected, and you deserve that correction. This is not the kind of correction where you're punished. This is not the kind of correction where you're made guilty. This is the kind of correction where you're like, oh, thank goodness, the way I thought it was, it isn't like that. You're getting your way of thinking corrected. The way you think about it, you're getting that corrected. See? If you're not totally joyful, that's all it means. See, for me, I don't feel guilty about that. When I'm not feeling totally joyful, I'm glad I know that I'm wrong. That's it. That's the bottom of it. I'm glad I know that I'm wrong. You know what? That in and of itself keeps me in peace. Keeps me in a really nice vibe and peace. There are small fluctuations instead of huge fluctuations, like these big dips, right? There's just these small fluctuations. And the only reason why they're small is because I'm alert and attentive, and I don't let it go down that much. Like, see, like here's maybe my baseline. Let's say it's right here around where my nose is. Let's say that's right. If it goes down a little bit, I'm noticing it right away. And I'm noticing that it's coming from me and that I need a correction, and I'm going to get a correction because I know I need it. That's all. And it's not in a guilty way. That's an important piece. If it's in a guilty way, you're still not accepting correction, because you would have that guilt corrected. That guilty thought would be corrected. Vigilance instead of battle. Thank you for pointing out that distinction. That will help me in my sensing. Yay. Thank you. I really appreciate you, Natalie, because, one thing that I saw when you came over here to visit, you were just so willing to receive and to learn. And I just saw you really feeling into the vibes, really feeling into, okay, this is what the sense of this is. And I could be with this sense, and I could be okay with this sense, you know. It's really beautiful when I get that perception in another person. And, you know, with Natalie, she just came from Washington, and it was funny. She gave me all kinds of notice. So I had it on my calendar, and I had it blocked out on my calendar. But then it came upon me and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I'm hanging out with her. And she's like, yeah, we're hanging out. The next thing you know, she's camped in my yard, and we're like fully hanging out for all these days. And it was just so much fun. And just noticing how, you know, she can just hang out around me and ask questions, and feel into what it is to just be released, you know, and get it and get a sense for herself. And I get the sense that she went back home and she's in a feeling that feeling sense of release. Now, you know, we're all unique. We all have a unique way of sensing things, let's say like that. Okay. The way we have this personal experience of a personal body, that part of it is definitely unique in the dictionary sense of it. It's just so different, the kind of paths we seem to be taking and all these different things. So I don't know how it might go for Natalie. And I've seen a lot of different, you know, scenarios. So, you know, there may be a sense like, oh yeah, I got it. I hung out with Hope. I see how it is. I know now. Okay. So it's possible, I've seen many times, where my friends will then be hit with some kind of a challenge. And I've even seen a friend go, yeah, now this thing is coming up. And you know what's interesting? I don't even mind. It's fine with me. And then like a month later, this is the worst fucking thing ever. Now I'm really upset about it. And then it seems like they totally like fell out of that sense that everything's okay, or that certainty that, okay, this is how I want to feel. Now, if you fall out of that certainty, just know that that is maximally beneficial also. Okay. That's how you will come back faster. And you're always coming back with gifts. That's another part of it. It doesn't matter how deep you go or for how long into delusion. When you come back into the light, you're coming back with gifts all the time. So those small ones, the big ones, whatever, at some point in time, you will become so vigilant for the truth that you won't even allow yourself to veer into this territory of victimhood or lamenting over anything. See, people who have been hanging out with me for a long time know that I don't have anything to lament over, because all of it is used for healing. And it doesn't matter what it is. I just don't have anything like that. Like, oh my God, I'm suffering over this thing. Because I know that's not true. That's just a lie to me. How can it be? How can that be the case? See, if any crying needs to happen, that's fine. That's okay with me. I don't have anything against it. It's just that I don't believe in the thought. And that could be why I haven't perceived myself crying, having to go into crying in a very long time. I don't think I shed a tear since 2019. And that particular tear was met with laughter. So I just don't see a reason to pursue a thought for that long. You know, really have to be pursuing a thought that is very sad. Really could be angry too. A lot of the times you cry because you're angry. It's all the same, really. It's fear, right? But haven't seen the need to pursue a thought, a sad thought, sad, angry, fearful thought, to the point where I'm crying. It just doesn't make sense to me. I do have a certain luxury because of the way I have been, I guess you could say, seeing the path. Been seeing the path. My relationships have evolved into a way where I have holy relationships. So if I get triggered, let's say, it's kind of funny to say get triggered. If I choose to pursue a trigger, a lot of times I'll just speak it to my husband because his reflection is so clear. It's just so clear. He's loving, and at the same time, that's a bunch of bullshit, Hope, and you know it. And I do, I know. And it brings me back. If you ever see me upset about something, just remind me that's a bunch of bullshit. Or say you made it up. You know, sometimes people think it would be like a mean thing to say to me if I were to be upset about something. Hope, remember, you made it up. Like, oh yeah. Sometimes people tell me that for something else, like I'll be like, I'm cold. Hope, you made it up. I know, but I'm still getting a jacket. You know, it's like, yeah, it's like whatever occurs on the surface, it's fine with me. And I know getting cold is an illusion. And also, I don't have to get upset over getting cold to get a jacket. It's just like, that's something that just plays out in the field. I don't do anything about that. At some point, I'm sure I'll see that I'm not susceptible to cold too. But while I'm getting the perception that I'm susceptible to cold and it feels uncomfortable, I can have a jacket. Just like while I'm getting a perception, if something seems to be painful, I can have some ganja gummies. Right? It's like, not a problem. Whatever's playing out in the field is fine with me. So maybe about 3 or 4 days ago, I was rolling a spliff. I love that because, you know, I was having a conversation with you guys earlier about how I just didn't feel like rolling spliffs, and I didn't feel like rolling spliffs from, like, I don't know, February until a couple days ago, whatever that is, however many months that is. And I was rolling a spliff and the thought occurred to me, oh, you're rolling a spliff again. And I'm like, it just doesn't matter to me. It really just does not matter either way. Like, yeah, there's a spliff being rolled. And then what does that mean? Nothing. I like to be that kind of example for you guys, that it actually means nothing. Who had their hand up right now? Is that Asana? I'll be happy to speak with you if you want. Just put your hand back up so I know. I'm not even sure who it was. Hand was up and then hand went back down. It just really doesn't matter to me. I mean, like if I became an alcoholic tomorrow, right? All of a sudden I'm like, yeah, I'm drinking a whole bottle of Jim Beam every night. It's still the same. See, a lot of what I get called on about, called for, whatever you want to say, people will be like, Hope, I am going through it. I can't stop drinking this alcohol. And it's like, okay, what's the problem with drinking the alcohol? Well, I want to be this and I want to be this and I want to do this and I want to do that. Who is that talking? Who is that one? See, you're not asked to change yourself or fix yourself or get better habits. You're only asked to allow love in the midst of a fearful perception, which you perceive as a fearful world. And you perceive a guilty self in a fearful world who seems to have habits that seem to be bad. Some of you may use TV, some of you may use food, anything like that. Look it, you can use it for the ego, Let's say it's TV. Say you binge on TV. You could use it for the ego, or you could use it for the Holy Spirit, for God's will. Basically, look at the thoughts and the feelings that accompany the perception. The feelings are telling you what those thoughts are doing in the field. They're like, these are what you're allowing to run around in the field. They're telling you what thoughts are manifesting. You may not be seeing the thoughts. For a lot of the people, they can't perceive the thoughts. They just know they got this uncomfortable feeling. That's because you're good at covering it up. Okay. So be willing to be with the feeling. Notice the thoughts that say you're guilty. Notice the thoughts that say you shouldn't be watching so much TV, for instance. You shouldn't be eating so much cake. Bullshit. All of it. So a couple days ago, I got the perception that I was bloated in my middle, in my midsection. I seem to have a pattern of IBS kind symptoms. It's really funny. So I seem like I'm like bloated in the middle, and I'm feeling like I'm getting the sense that I need to change the way I eat. Okay. So whenever there's a sense that I need to change something, it's a heavy sensation. Okay. So I'm getting the sense that I need to change something up about the way I eat. And I'm noticing that that is an untrue thought, that's not what the body is for. Okay. That's not what the body is for. At the same time, see, I'm not ignoring the body too. I'm noticing that thought, it's bringing up a certain sensation, right? So I'm paying attention to what the body is for. It's bringing up a certain sensation. It's like, that is a meaningless thought. It's bringing up a particular sensation, but it's not like I'm trying to repress it, because I'm getting the sense, I'm getting the feeling sense. For what a lot of you are doing, you're doing it in a way like you're not allowing the feeling sense to be made manifest. And you're just kind of like battling with the thought. See? So the thought to me is meaningless, because now I've got the sensation that's showing me what the truth is. The truth is basically not that. That's all I need to know, right? So then the next thing you know, I'm like feeling better and feeling better and feeling better. And I know that's always because of my thoughts, no matter what I perceive in the field. But there's enough evidence to show me, evidence in the field to show me that it's not correlated with what I do. There's enough evidence there like that. Okay. So I'm feeling better and better and better. And then I get inspired. I want to bake with Braun, bake something with Braun. And so I'm like, Braun, let's bake something. So we end up baking peanut butter cookies. Peanut butter cookie dough is the best. I don't know, you guys. You know, I have really great ingredients. I'm kind of like gourmet. I love gourmet stuff. So I got like really nice peanut butter. I've got cultured butter from the Amish. It's called A2 butter. It's like the best butter you can have. I don't know. It's just so creamy and good. And then I've got these specialty sugars. I have real brown sugar, which is like unheard of, because brown sugar is just like flavored with molasses. It's like white sugar flavored with molasses usually. And then I've got this really nice castor sugar to put in it. And I've got this beautiful cookie dough, and I'm just eating some cookie dough, right? I'm just eating cookie dough. And then cookies come, and I'm eating cookies too. In the middle of those, I ate a can of sardines too, apparently. And I'm just noticing how I feel. I'm noticing, wow, I just keep on feeling better and better, like around this area, around the middle, where I was feeling all bloated and uncomfortable, painful, stuff like that, even around that area. And it's like, you know, you're looking at that like, how are we coming up with this bullshit? How are we even coming up with this shit? Like just this idea, like we're stuck on these concepts about how foods affect our body in some kind of way. And, you know, it just takes all the attention off of what it really is. It's really the mind projecting illusions. So I stay with that. It's the mind projecting illusions. I notice how I feel. There's a joy with eating. There's a certain joy with eating. It's like if I get the inspiration to make some food, and then what, I'm like trying to fight with myself to not eat it and it tastes good and stuff like that. It's like, that makes no sense when it comes down to what is this body for? And, of course, according to A Course in Miracles, the body is only for communication. That's the way A Course in Miracles puts it. So true communication doesn't involve any guilty projections, right? And it's a willingness to see through any guilty projections, to help the other person see through their guilty projections, right? It's really communication. So if I'm using the body to see whenever a guilty concept is coming up, like, oh no, maybe I shouldn't be eating this or something. If I'm using it like that, everything's going to be a lot easier and a lot more free, right? Any kind of pain that I get. And we all have different patterns where we have like, different patterns of pain that we project onto itself. Like for me, I go through cycles where there will be yeast infections as part of it, right? They'll be just like, okay, now it's a yeast infection. Okay, now it's IBS. Okay, now it's a headache. Now it's a pimple. Now it's a wrinkle. It's like whatever. Our patterns are, and now it's our hairs, for instance, whatever our patterns are on focusing on something that's seems to have a cause in the world. It's only the mind causing things, and it's only causing them for a reaction, which is a programmed reaction that we're programmed to do over and over again. So we get reprogrammed in a way. Now, I mean, we can't really be reprogrammed, but the person that we're projecting into the field, the personality with the one that's with this body, let's say, that can be reprogrammed, and it is going to be reprogrammed. Everyone's going to reprogram that until it's completely purified of a guilty thought and can't even stand on its own, let's say, anymore, because it really needs a guilty thought to be standing. Okay. Of course, it needs the spirit as well. That's coming from your awareness being given over to it. So it's like, as it's more and more purified, it becomes less and less believable, and you stop giving over your power of awareness to this illusion, and it just resolves. So for everyone in the field, they're going to be using their body to do this. It's just a matter of time, and time is really a matter of thought. So that's why when we take a leap in thought, and a leap is basically the same thing that A Course in Miracles calls a miracle. It's like a leap. Okay. It's almost like this. There's a trajectory of time already predetermined. This is how long it takes to mathematically work out all this delusion that I've piled upon myself. Right. And when you make one of those miracles, where, you see someone else's interest is the same as yours, it's like, you leap forward in time more than you can imagine. It's like you collapse that time. And you know what, sensually, like you can perceive it as a leap. Like for myself, I could actually perceive it as a leap. It's almost like I've just transcended levels. I see this like this illusion, this illusionary field as being made of thoughts, and those thoughts are in layers. Okay, there's all these multiple layers and infinite layers, really, right? So as you're feeling really down, feeling, let's say chronically stressed, chronically down in the dumps, you're like hovering down toward the bottom vibrational field that it could be for projecting a life. Okay, and they're all side by side, and there's infinite numbers. It's a trip. It just keeps on going on and on. So it's like you you transcend a level each time, or 3 or 4 or whatever, each time you make a miracle. One way it was put to me, when the miracle was made between me and my son when he was 12 years old, there was a miracle that was made, and it was such a shift. I felt it viscerally, and I could see it in his eyes too. I'm not sure if he remembers it or not, but it was a moment when he was looking to me to accuse him once again of being a bully to his little brother, right? And I wouldn't do it. I was just like, no way. He even asked me, he's like, you're pissed at me, aren't you, Mom? And I go, and I could feel it. It was so strong. I go, you know what? I feel the feeling really strong, but I don't believe it. I only love you. And that's when I felt a major shift and a change in the way we relate and everything like that. It really felt like, it really felt like to express in that way was almost like a leap. It was almost like a leap of faith, right? Because the feeling is so strong, and it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense that someone can bully another person. I know you get all the evidence. I had all the evidence too. One was small and one was big. One was like twice the size of the other one. And it looked like he was bullying that little one. Okay. But I knew that wasn't really possible. And I knew it had to be coming out of my mind. So instead of reacting in the same way I had been reacting and the same way I was programmed to react, I was asking for a different interpretation, and I got it in the moment. And that was like a huge leap of faith to just be in the willingness to express it like that. Yes, it feels really intense, but I know it's not true, and I only love you. And I had a similar miracle with my daughter. Really, those were just so profound. It changed the relationship so much. Now, my son and I went through some other things when he got to be older, like a teenager and stuff like that. But because of that earlier miracle, all of that was so much easier. Some intensity came up, and a sense like, my son having a really guilty feeling about himself and making it as if it's because of something I did or didn't do when he was younger. And just being able to feel that kind of energy was such a relief. It was just such a relief, just being able to feel that kind of energy, because I could just take all of that, everything, what he was sharing with me, and just meet it with compassion. And so then it's just miracle after miracle after miracle until now our relationship is just so sweet and loving. There's just nothing. Well, I can't say nothing like that, because I overheard a really good conversation, and it was between my son and my daughter. And my daughter was telling my son something about something that she heard. Actually, she asked him a question about something, and he immediately knew. She heard about it from me, and he's like, and he just blew up. I could hear this whole conversation. He blew up. Goddamn, Mom, talking some shit or something like that, just going off like that. And then my daughter just looks at him and just kind of like, whoa. And she's like, Mom can't talk about you. And he goes, I just don't like her doing this and this and this. So she watches him just do a thing, and then a couple minutes later, he comes back and he's like, yeah, you're right. And then, and he said, that's just my pattern. He said, that's just my pattern to get mad at Mom. And it was just so sweet. It's just I'm like an earshot of all of this. They don't know, because it's weird the way my house is set up. I'm just like not trying to eavesdrop, but I'm like hearing the whole thing. I'm like, oh yeah, there he is blowing up at me. That's fun. And and then see him come back to himself all by himself. I mean, really, I'm sure my daughter is a huge catalyst in that, because she just loves me. She just loves me. She told me that my son was talking to her about how I'm just, I don't know if he used the word arrogant or whatever, but it's like when he tells me he disagrees with me a lot of the times, I'll go, that's okay. That won't last forever. Sooner or later, you'll come to see that I'm right. And I'm kind of like matter of fact about that. So my daughter feels the same. My daughter feels the same way. So, that not that she's right, but that I'm right. So so he's telling her that, kind of like bitching about me, how, like, how does she expect to even get across to him if I'm going to be like, how do I expect to even get across to him if I'm going to be all arrogant like that? And my daughter's like, yeah, well, I thought the same thing, but then I realized she is right, and you're going to realize she's right too. Isn't that so funny? You know why? You know why my daughter says that? Because she realizes that she wants that relaxation that I'm always offering. There was a time where she went through where it was like, yeah, she's wrong. She's full of shit. And, she'd had the influence of a lot of people that she was hanging out with who also like to talk about me being full of shit, which I love. I love them. And I think that's wonderful. And she was in that kind of vibe where she was vibing with that kind of energy. So she went along with that for a while, and she had her own experience. And then she was like, holy shit, my mom is right. And, and that's why I could be so confident that I know I'm like, hey, I'm right about this, because I know that's where the relief is. I know that it's where the relief is for everyone. It may not be that, like I'm not saying every single thing I say is true. I've shared before, nothing I say is true. But what I'm sharing with you is a certain vibration, and it's right because you deserve it. And for most of you, it's a way higher vibration than what you're allowing for yourself. That's what I mean when I say I know I'm right. There's no doubt about it. I'm certain in my mind, because if I get a perception that they're suffering, and you're telling me that your suffering is justified, you're fucking wrong about that. There's just not a question in my mind about that, because you don't deserve to be suffering. That's what makes me right, because I know what you deserve. I'm not saying that everything I say, every concept I throw out there is right. It's not really right or wrong. It's like a pointing. There's a vibration. That's why I said you don't even need the volume. Just look at me. There's a vibration being offered here. And when you get it, you're going to love it. I'm right about that. You're right about the world. That's great. You be right about the world. That's good. That's fine with me. Is that thing rude? It doesn't matter. There's not an argument about it. There's not like, no, isn't rude, or yes, it is rude. It actually doesn't matter. Is that person doing something wrong? It actually doesn't matter. Is what they're doing maximally beneficial? Yes, it is. It's definitely beneficial. Because there's no way it could pop up in your perception unless, one, you need it, two, you can use it. It's within your ability to use anything that pops up in your perception. It doesn't matter how much stupidity you want to attach to it. Okay. I mean, you can take an example. One of my friends, her mom isn't talking to her. And, I got the sense, because I was hanging out with my friend, and, in close proximity, her mom actually lives close proximity to her and doesn't want to hang out with her. And has said that she thinks her daughter wants to kill her. So, and her daughter's going kind of like, what the flying fuck is going on here? There's no mom. There's no relationship that you need to have with a person who isn't interested in having a relationship with you. There's no justification for crying over this. I got the perception too. It's like, Mom, how can you not want to be with this beautiful girl who loves you so much. Why would you not want to be with this beautiful girl? And, noticing that also thought, feeling, sensation is a call for love. So I'm not doing anything wrong. There's just a call for love. And I'm the one who supplies it through my own body's energy field. I allow my body's energy field to receive the blessing first. It receives it first. Noticing that's a call for love. Even that thought that says, gosh, come on, mama. Look it, you've got this beautiful daughter. And then on the other hand, the daughter, from my perception, didn't really like it when her mom would come around. So you see how there's just like no drama here. It's like either way. And notice how the ego will make a big deal out of this person. This person who plays the role of mom. First, she's a royal pain in the ass, coming over, spewing all kinds of judgment all the time, which could have been a good ass time. And I know it was a good ass time in certain instances. There was just not willingness to make it fun, to be the fun in it. So there's another manifestation, and it's all perfect. It's all perfect. Now, that person isn't coming around spewing judgment anymore. Now the drama goes to, oh, she thinks so bad about me though. It's like, hey, can she just not come around and not think bad about me? Can she just not come around and think good things about me? Right? I can see that. And yeah, of course, you deserve that. So how is that remedied? Notice when the thought of a family member, in this case, mom, family member, that's just a role you gave them. When the thought of a family member not liking you, harboring mean thoughts about you or anything like that comes to mind, notice how that feels, and notice if you're willing to think of them in a way that's fond. Maybe there's a fond memory that'll pop up or something like that. Yay, Constance made it. Thank you for making it. You got 3 minutes left. Oh, really? I'm running out of battery too, and it's 3 minutes to 5. Yay. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you. So it's just a matter of, of course, like if you're crying, don't try to make yourself stop crying. It's not like that. It's just in noticing that the thoughts you're using to make yourself cry are attack thoughts. You don't have to do that. You don't have to pursue them. You're making the image into something, oh, it's so sad. But really, it's not sad one bit. Because it's maximally beneficial. Because of what it's for, because you could use it, any upset feeling right now. It's even maximally beneficial for me that my friend's mom's not talking to her. See how that's maximally beneficial for me? I start hanging out. All of a sudden, I'm getting a sense like something is wrong. I'm getting a sense. That means I'm receiving that call for love. And it's the call for love that I can supply what's needed in that. So see, so I say thank you to the mother and to the daughter for playing those roles for me. It's always thank you for me. Because I know what the roles are for. I know what the role of GoDaddy is for even. And my blog. And the feeling sensation that comes up when I'm multitasking. I love you so much, Asana. Thank you for receiving the wisdom. I love you. It's your wisdom too. Yay. Thank you, everyone. Okay, so I'll be back next week. Soon I'm going to have a sale, I think. I think so. It's very whimsical for me. I think I'm going to have a sale. I think it might start on Wednesday and go just a flash sale, Wednesday to Friday, 20% off the store, miraclebotanicals.com, 2 days only, 2 or 3, I don't know, something like that. And those of you who like to pay full price, you don't have to put in the coupon code. That's how that goes. There's going to be a coupon code. So I really appreciate you, whether you support me through a sale, support me through freaking donations, buy the essential oils, whatever it is. The thing is, I don't need your support. I'm grateful for it whenever you want to give it, and I don't need it. So it's not like that. And I have the best stuff. I search for the best stuff. You don't find this stuff everywhere. What I have today, Cape chamomile and CO2 juniper berry essential oils. These are, like I said, smaller batches, much smaller batches. So they're not the kind of thing that you find at all essential oil retailers, but they're really interesting. They're really interesting and they have fun messages. So those are a few of the things you can check out if you like to go to miraclebotanicals.com. If you'd like to donate to me, it's Hope Johnson 7. When it comes to donations, I use those for like toward Wisdom Dialogues type stuff. That's why, since I got a donation from Natalie, I go, okay, what does Wisdom Dialogues need? And in the moment, it's a heart math thing. So I'm putting it toward that and some training for heart math and Zoom. Of course, Zoom. I pay for Zoom. I don't know what else. Little odds and ends. Oh yeah, Buzzsprout, where it goes to all the podcast stations. By the way, if you don't find you find gaps on YouTube, which this one's going to make it on YouTube because I don't think I said anything against the World Health Organization in this particular broadcast. Sometimes it seems like I'm saying something against the World Health Organization just because, you know, illusions aren't true. And sometimes I'm giving particular examples and it goes against an agenda that's trying to be played out right now, just for fun. Isn't that nice? I love it. So yeah, if you don't find them on YouTube, you're going to find everything on podcasts. You'll find about 4 hours a week. This week, you're finding 5 because I even have an interview on there that I did with Sharon on Moment to Moment last Tuesday. So that also made it to YouTube too. So I'll be back next week, Monday, for Wisdom Dialogues online. I also have Wisdom Dialogues in person Fridays. That's at Kalani. It's 3 to 5 p.m. It's in the Blue Moon Room and it's always free. Wisdom Dialogues is always free. Yay. And it's been like that for 9 years so far, 9 years and running. I'm super stoked, you guys. Thank you so much for a great time. Thank you so much for this interaction. I know a lot of you haven't done a lot of interactions with me, but I know you're with me and I know you're listening and I know you're taking this in and I love you so much. Peace be with you. It's true. Constance says it's true. She's vouching for me. I do have the best stuff. Okay. That's how, why would I make it any other way? Why would I really make it any other way? I mean, if the thing goes, kerplunk, bankrupt, whatever it does, at least I know along the way I had the best shit, right? That's it. I like that. I like to do that. I like to stoke people out. I like to show you guys a whole new take on aromatherapy. Yay. I love you so much. Thank you so much for joining. Mahalo, aloha, and a hui ho.